Democratic Speaker Nancy Pelosi, after 2 decades as the leader of Democrats in Congress, some people say the most effective Speaker of the House in American history, while she was still very, very much at the height of her powers and influence. Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi chose to retire from Democratic Party leadership in the House to clear the way for a new generation. In her case, for the next Democratic House leader, Hakeem Jeffries of the great state of New York. Leader Jeffries is now standing by with our colleague Alex Wagner in Chicago. Alex, over to you.
Thanks, Rachel. Leader Jeffries, as Rachel points out, the Democratic Party has done some fairly extraordinary things in terms of the lines of succession, if you will. How are you feeling about, the choice President Biden made and what he's going to say on the stage tonight?
Well, it's an honor for us as House Democrats to stand on the shoulders of a legendary leader like Nancy Pelosi, myself along with Catherine Clark and Pete Aguilar and the entire House Democratic Caucus. And we're also, of course, thankful for President Joe Biden, a great American, a heroic American, a patriotic American. He'll go down in American history as one of the most consequential presidents of all time. But he's made this selfless decision to pass the torch to Kamala Harris, who's ready, willing, and able to lead the United States of America. And so we're here to celebrate Joe Biden. We're here to elevate Kamala Harris, and we're here to eradicate MAGA extremism.
For a long time, the old adage was Democrats need to fall in love and Republicans fall in line. That does not seem to be true today. And I wonder if you think what we're looking at is a new, very tactical, strategic, and I won't say cutthroat, but really sort of getting a Democratic Party that places winning and defeating Donald Trump as its paramount objective.
Well, we've recognized that Donald Trump represents an existential threat to America, to our way of life, to democracy, to an economy that we want to build which works for everyday Americans, as opposed to his vision of an economy that works for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. If you look back at the arc over the last several cycles, we took the House back in 2018. We won the presidency in 2020. We took the Senate back in 2020. We overperformed in the midterm elections and won all across the country, only narrowly lost the House. We won during the off-year elections in 2023. So we have been, I think, very strategic as it relates to the stakes that exist and the need for us to win, not as Democrats, to win for the American people.
Do you think the House stands a chance of falling back into Democratic hands? Are you ready to pick up the gavel as Speaker of the House?
Well, we're working very hard as House Democrats throughout this Congress. We continue to put people over politics, and we're going to articulate a vision all across the country. We're going to fight to lower costs. We're going to fight to grow the middle class. We're going to fight to defend freedom, in particular, a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions, run through the finish line, put it in the hands of the American people, make sure we elect Kamala Harris as the 47th president of the United States of America, and take back the majority in the House of Representatives.
I noticed you talk about the economy, you talk about abortion, you talk about freedom writ broadly. You did not talk about the shenanigans, which is euphemistic, that the House Republican Conference has been up to. Today, they came out finally with their report, a long time and many dollars in the making, that concludes that President Biden is guilty of impeachable conduct, though they are unable to point to a particular crime or criminal activity, and they are unlikely to hold a vote to impeach the president because they don't actually have the votes. What is your reaction to, A, the release of that report today, and then B, to the sort of bigger picture of how they've been spending their time?
Extreme MAGA Republicans are sad and desperate. This so-called impeachment report is a fake, fraudulent, and fictitious document. There's no evidence that President Biden committed a crime, no evidence of wrongdoing, and no evidence that he engaged in an impeachable offense. This was all about them continuing to bend the knee to Donald Trump, who instructed them to launch this phony impeachment inquiry. They wasted time and taxpayer dollars, and at the end of it, they've produced nothing. And it also represents a cynical effort to try to drop this as if people are going to pay attention on the first day of the Democratic convention. It was an epic fail. just like their majority throughout this Congress, has been an epic fail. It's brought us nothing but chaos, dysfunction, and extremism. We're going to bring joy. We're going to bring hope. We're going to bring change for the American people.
It should be noted, Leader Jeffries, that you also brought a DJ. I think the only Democrat here who had a DJ at one of his parties today celebrating the convention. So many firsts happening here.
Shout out to Brooklyn's own DJ Clark Kent, representing here at the Democratic National Convention.
Brooklyn represent. Back to you in New York, Rachel.